I think something that is sort of lost in the conversations about self-publishing, marketing really is everything. Marketing can really make or break a book. So it really is essential to the success of your book, especially on places like Amazon when you have so many other things that are for sale and competing with you all the time.
Welcome to Sell Your Book. It's the podcast for existing or aspiring self-published business book authors who want to know what's working right now to help you sell more books, get more clients from your books, and expand your opportunities. If this is your vibe, you gotta subscribe. Now, let's get into today's conversation.
Okay, listen, y'all. I normally am talking to authors, but today I done did something. I got someone from one of the big five. And if you don't know what the big five is, let me tell you. Okay, I got the secret spot paper over here, and I wrote down the big five. So the big five, all right. Normally, a lot of people want to get published by one of these big five publishers, and they are Hatchet Book Group, HarperCollins Publishers, Macmillan Publishers, Penguin Random House, and Simon & Schuster. Now, this paper's going to self-destruct in 5 seconds. So let me let that go. Okay, so I got somebody from one now, but I'm not going to tell you which one, okay? Because her identity is a secret. No, it's not. I'm just playing games. But anyway, we really do have someone from one of the big five publishers, and I'm so glad that she agreed to speak with us today, because although I'm mostly talking to people who want to write a book and self-publish, some of you guys and gals are interested in getting a publishing deal from one of the big five. And there can be advantages to that. Now, if you know me, I'm independent all the way, but there are advantages to being part of a big five publishing house. And we're going to talk about those today. And we're going to talk about how you can take either a book that you are working on to self-publish and transition that into a bigger publishing deal, or how maybe even to get started in a big five publishing deal. So my guest today, we're just going to go by first names, because I go by my first name, which is Denise Renee. So we're going to go by her first name as well, because what you're not going to do is you're not going to harass her online. You're not going to go finger stalking her, looking up her LinkedIn profile or anything like that and giving her cold DMs. We're not doing that, okay? I cut up a little bit, but y'all don't cut up, okay? So we're going to be nice to our guests. We're not going to cyber stalk her, but we're going to listen to what she has to say, because she has got the tea. So I want to welcome Jordan to the Sell Your Book podcast. Jordan, welcome.
Thank you so much, Denise Renee.
You're very welcome.
I can't beat that introduction. Everything about it was fun and perfect and charming, and I'm just going to leave it there because it was the best.
This is just what I do. This is what I do.
Your vibe.
But, we gotta have a little fun. So
Totally.
Thank you so much for agreeing to take time out of your busy day and letting us in on some insider Big Five secrets. So yeah, what I didn't tell you guys is that Jordan, she's not just anybody in the mailroom, okay? She's up there running things, okay? But I'm gonna let Jordan explain what her current position is, and she'll let us know how she got herself into the publishing industry. So
Awesome.
Jordan, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I work in marketing, and I've been at the company for just under 8 years, which is actually just blowing my mind. It feels so crazy to already be at that big marker, but I do a lot of really cool things in my job. Obviously, marketers are kind of covering the bases for all books when they're going on sale and helping promote them, helping do social media, helping do, anything to kind of get the book into the hands of new readers. And I actually work on the corporate team of one of our divisions. So my job looks a little different than a traditional marketer. I get to oversee some more bird's eye view type of projects. Some of my highlights include attending Comic-Cons around the country every year, selling books, handling author events there, which is always so much fun, doing big advertising campaigns for heritage moments and cultural months. So we just did a big campaign for Black History Month back in February, and we've got a really exciting one coming up right now because it's already June, which is crazy, for Pride Month. And it's a lot of fun. Book marketing has been a real joy for me, and I've absolutely loved every minute of it.
So how did you get started in the publishing industry? And then we're going to go back into the marketing stuff, because I am a marketing geek and I want to know all of the things. So how did you get
Absolutely.
started? How did you get started?
Great question. So I was an English major in college, which of course is
Hey,
the classic answer. Everybody's like, I'm an
absolutely.
English major. What should I do next? And everybody's like, do you want to be a teacher? Do you want to go to law school? And I'm like, no, I don't actually want to do either of those things. And
I did one of those things.
I to people who do those things. Those are amazing. Those are such important jobs. It just wasn't the path that I wanted to take for myself. So I ended up doing an internship my senior year of college with a small publishing house located in Washington, D.C. And I was like, wow, you know what? This is really for me. Like working with the books, working with editors, working with authors, it just really checked all of my boxes and felt very professionally satisfying for me. So I was like, this is definitely something that I want to pursue. So after I graduated from college, I did a short-term graduate program that was just like a publishing 101 type of course. So you could learn about the ins and outs of the industry. And then from there, I ended up being fortunate enough to get my first job as a marketing assistant. And then it just sort of all took off from there.
Nice. I wanted when I had I can't speak. When I was an English major way back in the last century, I did want to. I thought that I was going to move to Boston. I went to a New England school, so I was in school in Maine. Don't ask me how a Black girl from the Bronx gets to a school in Maine, but I did. And I didn't really want to go back to New York City at the time. I wanted to go to Boston, find a job in publishing, which is dumb because I'm like, how many publishers are there
I
in
know.
Boston? No,
I mean,
dumb.
there are,
I
but
should have
the
gone back
big
home.
ones are New York. The big ones are New York.
So yes, I did want to go to publishing that, but I kind of like made my way circuitously into
Just
books
so
anyway.
cool. And you formed like a whole new thing, which is amazing.
So that first marketing job, tell us a little bit about that, and what are some of the elements that are involved in marketing a book from a bigger publisher standpoint?
Definitely. So actually what's funny is when I originally looked into getting into book publishing, I thought I wanted to be an editor because I think whenever you think of book publishing, your automatic go-to response is usually editorial. You're like, how cool would it be to be like a big shot book editor? And that job is extraordinary. But something about me is that I'm a very big people person and I'm a very collaborative person. And editorial work is a little bit more independent, while marketing work is a lot more collaborative. You're working with the authors, you're working with a team to basically come up with the best plan of action to get a book out into the hands of readers. So my early days as a marketing assistant were kind of twofold. Part of that role was a lot of administrative work, which is sort of something you can expect when you are an entry-level employee at any company, I would say. You know, you're making schedules, you're taking phone calls, you're helping coordinate things. But I also pretty early on got to start becoming like a secondary marketer on a lot of books that we were publishing, which basically meant that I would connect with authors and then figure out promotional plans. This ranged anywhere from coming up with a budget and figuring out where we were going to advertise and who we were going to advertise to, and then also what we were going to do on social media, if we were going to do fun giveaways, if there were other authors we could coordinate with and do some promotion that way. And obviously that is always book dependent. You know, every book's marketing plan looks super different, but my early days kind of consisted of a blend of that work and some of the administrative stuff.
I really love that because a lot of those same elements that you were doing there as a major publisher are the very same things that independent authors have to do. You definitely want to leverage other people's audiences with collaborations. You definitely have to have a marketing plan in place. You definitely need some money. Okay, you need the coinage. Sometimes people think that, oh, I'm just going to put it out on Amazon and people are going to find it and Amazon's going to sell my book. No, Amazon is in the business of selling what they want to sell you. If they're like, okay, here's a book. Okay, here's a treadmill. Okay, here's this luxury, necklace. Like whatever they sell, whatever captures your attention, that's what they're going to sell. They're not there to sell your book. So I'd love to know a little bit more about what are some of those things that were involved in. Like, what would you say was like your most unique marketing campaign that you ever came up with?
Definitely. And also just have to say, I totally agree with what you were saying. I think something that is sort of lost in the conversations about self-publishing, which by the way, is an amazing option for any person who's interested in getting published, but not that I'm biased or anything, but marketing really is everything. Marketing can really make or break a book. So it really is essential to the success of your book, especially on places like Amazon, when you have so many other things that are for sale and competing with you all the time. But I had the fortune of working on a lot of really, really fun book campaigns throughout my time. I think one of my favorite opportunities was one of the titles that I was working on my last year as a title marketer before I moved on to this new team. We had just hit the huge marker of selling 2 million copies of this book, which was insane, unheard of, truly just like mind-blowing. And we wanted to keep the momentum going. We wanted to get the book into even more hands because it was such a smash sensation. And we did some really, really fun things. The highlight was we actually connected with a small tea company that was located in North Carolina and did a collaboration with them and actually had them make a custom tea blend inspired by the main character in this book and did like a fun giveaway where we got to promote a small business. We got to collaborate with a small business. We got to do something that was really specific to the characters in this book and felt very unique. And then we got to post it on social media and connect with all kinds of readers and people that followed this tea company that actually didn't know about the book. So it was sort of this twofold win-win situation. And I actually have done a lot of similar partnerships like that through the years because it's a really fun way to, again, help local businesses and then also get some good advertising, free advertising out there. But I think that one was one of my favorites just because that company really went above and beyond with what they helped us with. And it was just, we saw some amazing feedback from it. So I always look back at that with such fond memories.
That I of course now I'm like, what is this book? Okay, so I know you can't tell us the name of the book, but can you at least give us like the genre? Was it fiction? Was it non?
Yes, it was fiction, like contemporary fiction.
Was it adult or children?
Adult.
It could be adult.
Yes.
All right. So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. But I love that. Oh my gosh, like to really thinking about how you can collaborate with other businesses, and especially the audience that I mainly work with are people who are business owners and they're looking to share their expertise, in a book that helps, the type of person that they're looking for, but also helps them to expand their brand, get more clients, all that kind of stuff.
Real quick, I know you're enjoying today's conversation, but do you want to write a book that helps you get clients for your business, grows your audience, and expands your opportunities? But you don't know how to get started writing this type of a book that can help you produce these results? Even if you don't feel like an expert, the very act of writing a book will help position you as one. And there is a proven path forward that will help you get what you want. I put it all together for you in my 4 steps to book writing success. Visit www.writingwithdeniserenee.com/4 steps. Not only do you get the steps, but I also give you videos for each step, breaking them down so that you would know your actionable steps to follow to get started writing your book right away. So hit pause on this episode right now and head over to writingwithdeniserenee.com/4 steps to download, and then unpause so we can get back into this conversation.
The audience that I mainly work with are people who are business owners and they're looking to share their expertise, in a book that helps, the type of person that they're looking for, but also helps them to expand their brand, get more clients, all that kind of stuff. So definitely in the nonfiction space. But I mean, business owners, hello, have you ever thought about collaborating with another business to help and incorporating that in the book, or pulling out themes or pulling out things and, putting a whole package together? I mean, my mind is just like going in 1,000 directions. So I have to
there's so much opportunity there.
And I think sometimes as a marketer and as someone who has helped other people with their marketing of, all different types, there's always the what we consider, what's the term I'm looking for? Best practices, right? They're the best practices in marketing. You have your email list, you post on social, you do all of the things. But at some point in time, that was something that was unique. That was something that would stand out. That was something that was different. And when everybody is doing the same things, it gets really noisy and it gets really crowded and you no longer stand out. It's like when everybody was doing like the Alex Hormozy style of,
Yes.
of captions on their video. Then all the videos had it. And Alex said, you know what? Y'all go do your own homework. Right now, we're wiping the slate clean. We're not editing these videos. I'm just coming straight to camera and that's it. What else you got? So
totally.
so it's like, really being yourself, digging into something that's creative and unique and do it because it's fun, right?
Yes.
And that could be the thing that just like really helps you to stand out. So
100%.
If nothing else, I hope that my listeners, y'all are taking notes and the ideas are spinning because my ideas they're going everywhere. So I'm going to pause this marketing conversation for a second, and I'm going to get into the juice. Okay, we're going to get into the tea.
Let's get into the juice. Let's
get into the
dive
juice.
in.
All right. So I liken the publishing industry to the music industry, where it's very, very similar. Where you get a deal, you get a whole chunk of money to get started, but you basically have to recoup the money. So your sales has to exceed the amount of the advance that you were given,
yes,
and the budget that was put in place to, actually do the printing, the marketing, etc. And after that, then you get royalties. And then, publishing industry royalties are like, also, they have the rights to the book. So it could be good, it could be bad, depending on what kind of deal you have. Again, that's where it comes like the music industry. I think one of the benefits is that if you have a great story, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, those movie rights, because all of the big five, they all have tie-ins with major studios. So you could potentially get a movie out of this or a TV show or something like that. That's, I think, one of the benefits of partnering up with a major publishing company. What are some other benefits that you would say an author can have for publishing, for going with one of the big five?
Definitely. It's a great question. And I know, plenty of people kind of ask me questions like this all the time. And I mentioned it before, but I want to reiterate again. I think self-publishing really is a really great option. When you self-publish, you have your own timeline. You get to make all the final decisions. You get to figure everything out exclusively on your own. And that is
the money.
That is, it's hugely beneficial. But I will say, in addition to getting an advance payment, like you're saying, and royalties and the opportunity to sell the rights to a movie studio or a TV studio or something like that, which is, a huge deal, you also have a whole team of professionals that really, really know what they're doing. So you're going to have a whole team that's going to say, okay, here's the book, here's the genre, here's the time of year that we think is going to be perfect to put this book on sale. So we're going to set the on sale date then. We're going to find a cover that we've done tons and tons of conversations and research about to make sure that it best represents the story and hits our target market the way that we want to. You've got professional marketers and publicists that can help you with any hurdles you go throughout the promotion process. You've got the company providing money for your marketing and publicity budget. So you're going to be showing up in a lot of places that you'd want to be showing up in. And you have a lot of sounding boards when you have questions. And then most importantly, in my opinion, is you have an editor who was so passionate about your book that they decided to take a chance, bring it to their team, pay a lot of money for it, and then stand behind it and make the best changes that they possibly could. And not that you can't have those things when you aren't getting published with a publishing house, but there is something to be said for those connections and those relationships. And it sort of helps with the longevity of a career, because if you hope to publish another book after that or stay connected within the industry, it's really one of the best ways to do it.
Definitely. I mean, when people come to me either for book writing coaching or for editing, that's all you get. Okay. I'm not doing all them other things. Okay. I'm not publishing for you.
Right. And it's all free. Like, that's the thing too. It's not free, but like it's
all included. It's
all included in the book deal. Right.
Yes. So, but the thing is getting that daggone book deal. The rejection that people receive from sending their book manuscript everywhere.
Yes.
I I know why the selection process is so hard, but I don't want to say it because I don't technically have like, official publishing industry information. So I want you to say it.
Yes. So I think this is going to be like a kind of winding answer here, but I do think that there are many reasons why someone faces a rejection in a book deal. The first thing I'm going to say is that timing is absolutely everything. When we see a genre trending, if we're like on TikTok, for example, like right now, romance fantasy is having a huge moment. Like this is the moment to be writing a romance book and getting it published. But 5 years ago, that probably wasn't going to be the case. So timing seriously is everything. And even if you've written the most amazing, perfect book, if the marketing and publicity just doesn't line up with the times, sometimes it's just like you have to try again a few years later. We see this a lot, especially in the political world that we're living in with all of these big political moments that are happening. You kind of have to be really careful about what you're publishing and when you're publishing it, because we don't want your book to get lost in the noise. So often it's really sort of just about like the worldly circumstances. But then on another level, sometimes getting a book deal is also about resources and access to the industry. Because if you want to get published in the big five, you almost always have to have an agent in order to get published. And anybody can do this. Anybody can get an agent, but it is a challenge, right? You have to do a lot of research. You have to find various agencies, do outreach, send your manuscript, and find some people who are interested. I will just say that Penguin Random House has a guide about getting published, and you can kind of sort through, and it gives amazing resources to connecting with an agent and finding an agent who really works well with the genre and type of book that you're hoping to publish. And then just a lot of other tips and tricks that the company has to offer. But I think something that I'm really the most excited about currently is that we have recently started an open submissions program at the company. And for various points throughout the year, some of our imprints will actually do cold call open submissions where you can literally send your manuscript into a form and have it reviewed without having to be vetted through an agent first. And this, of course, is one of our many moves towards a more inclusive, community and allowing access for more people to be able to get published with us, because obviously so much of it is about your privilege and your access to the resources that you need and your access and proximity to agents and things like that. So this was one of those things where it's like, there are a lot of amazing writers out there that just simply don't have the pinpoint to get in. And this is one of the ways that people can do that.
That's pretty cool that I think if people do their research and find out, okay, well, this is like and usually those seasons for open submissions is like,
they're short. Small. I will say they're short.
On purpose.
Yes.
So you really have to, be on your research game.
They're short and they're crowded. So yes. That is something important to note. So
I think also something else that people should be aware of is that different companies will have different specialties. And so like yes. You said, your company has different imprints, and all of the big five will have different imprints. So some will focus on political books, some will focus on nonfiction books, some will focus on health books, some will focus. So you should also look at what is a publishing house that specializes in your specific genre of book.
Definitely.
And people, please don't do this. Do not say my book is for everybody. It's not, okay? Because everybody is nobody, all right? And nobody will buy your book, all right? Every book has an audience. Every book has a genre. Figure it out.
Totally.
Because it makes marketing easier. So
totally.
Jumping back into the marketing, and you mentioned TikTok earlier. I know that during the pandemic, book talk became a thing.
Yes.
I still, it could be that, I'm a Gen Xer, and then, I'm hip. Okay. I got my tablet. I got my phone, my smartphone. I got it all. Right. But TikTok is just like, when TikTok came out, I was just like, I cannot with another social media platform. And
I know.
Like I'm barely on, barely. People send me messages and I'm like, sorry, girl. Like, I just want to be on TikTok. Like, I just don't. However, what would you say is working? Like, and so, and the we're going to, for YouTube purposes, the panorama presented some unique circumstances that no longer exist right now, right? So people were home, they had nothing better to do. They were watching more YouTube videos, they were reading more books, they were listening to more audiobooks, listening to more podcasts. And at that time, that whole, situation of media just kind of really bubbled up, streaming bubbled up. And then everybody started going back outside. All right. We got our sunnies and we outside. All right. We outside. And so, a lot of podcast budgets have deflated. A lot of podcasts that started at that time, they're gone. A lot of books that were popping at that time, they're like, where are they? Right. But there is still, book talk is still a thing. Podcasts are still a thing. What would you say is working right now in 2024 and moving into 2025? What do you think is working right now the best? And how should people kind of prepare for what's next in book marketing and book advertising?
Definitely. People are going to get so mad when I say this, but I really just have to. Social media is everything in marketing. Social media, of course, like you're saying, has changed so much in the last 5 to 6 years, and especially in 2020 with TikTok kind of emerging and turning into this huge kind of number one platform. But I would argue to say that any of the platforms have just as much power depending on the audience and who you're trying to get to. Because like you're saying, Denise Renee, you're not a big TikTok person. So if you were writing a book for a different audience, you might be using Instagram or Facebook or something, depending on the type of people that you're trying to target.
My socials are YouTube and LinkedIn. That's me.
Those are also amazing outlets to use. So my biggest advice for people when it comes to book marketing is social media is your best friend, but cater to your strengths. So if you are a LinkedIn person and you are not a TikTok person, use your LinkedIn to promote your book, to network, to connect with people. Use YouTube to post videos, to build a following, and don't be afraid to kind of do that sort of self-promotion. I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, is sort of this fear of putting too much online, giving out too much information, posting too often, things like that. But if you are looking to get published and you are a debut author and you don't necessarily have credits to your name in the writing world at all, if you've got a social media following of any capacity, that's a huge selling point for a publisher, to see that you've already done some of this self-marketing and self-promotion that can help boost you even more once you have the book deal. So I wouldn't even sit here and say TikTok is the number one thing you need to be doing, because by no means is that true. Obviously, TikTok is incredibly powerful and people are able to build big platforms there, but they're able to build big platforms on all of the social media channels. And if you are an amazing person on X, which I hate to say it's no longer Twitter, but on X, and you get a lot of engagement, keep pushing that, cater to the followers who are really tuned in with you and, work to your strengths in that way.
What do you think about, we have this whole thing with TikTok where, it's about to be banned, or maybe, anyway, so there's a possibility that TikTok that at this time next year, June 2025, TikTok may either not be here or it might look different.
Totally.
Any thoughts or suggestions as to what people can do from now?
Yes.
To prepare for that?
Definitely. And this is something we think about all the time from our end too, because even as far as book promotion is concerned, we're using TikTok all the time to kind of push sales and reach readers and build our community. So this is definitely something that we think about a lot too. My number one tip right now is I would save all the content that you record. I wouldn't record it in the TikTok app. I would actually just record your videos so that you have them in case, knock on wood, the app does end up going away or looking or functioning differently than it already does. But I would also say cross promotion is huge. Video content is thriving everywhere. It's thriving on Twitter or on X. It's thriving on Facebook. It's thriving on Instagram. I even am seeing more video content on LinkedIn. And then of course, YouTube is a video platform in itself. But I would cross promote. Even if TikTok is where you've got a big following, there's no harm in posting it to Reels or to YouTube too, just to kind of reach your readers elsewhere. And I also think that if TikTok were to cease to exist as we know it, disappear, poof, your followers would seek you out elsewhere. So it would be good to just have at least a little bit of a built foundation on some of the other platforms.
And this is where my marketing hat comes in. I'm like, no matter what social you're on, you should always focus on having your own email list. Or if you are, like my son, I don't know, well, I started late. So I'm a Gen Xer and my son is a Gen Alpha. He's about to be 13.
Wow.
And he is just counting down the days. But his generation, they're more like, I don't know why, but my son is into Discord. I'm like, you're 12. Why do you have Discord? But he's on Discord for a lot of his, the gamers that he follows and all that kind of stuff. So if you do not want to have an email list, fine, but at least get a text notification. There are services that do like only text and easy text and stuff like that. Text notifications or Discord. You need to have access to your audience, right? Your followers. Give them something free. Give them a free chapter. Give them a free, behind the scenes of making, your book or doing your launch or something, whatever. Give them something free so that you can get that contact information and have it for yourself, so that any of these platforms, even if the platforms are here for the next 50 years, but if they decide that your account, you can have that one hater who starts attacking your account and gets your account removed. How would you connect with your people? So
email marketing is underratedly amazing. I mean, every author, I think, should have a sign-up list on their website. They should have a website too, so people can go tune in, see what's the latest with them. There are a lot of free ways to make a website. Canva is an amazing tool if you don't have a design team and you just want to be making your own promotional materials. I use it constantly for my job and also outside of my job. There are so many ways that you can still connect, even if you're not using socials.
And if you don't know how to get started with a website, I do have a video on this channel, and I'll put it here, where you can, I did an interview with Carol Dunlop, and she shares how to get started with your own, even with a DIY website. So, and it was specifically for authors. So,
yes.
All right. So we're going to be landing the plane here in a few. I had like a few other questions that I wanted to get to. I think I got through everything. What would be your advice for someone? Let's say they have already written a book.
Yes.
They have, I'm asking for my audience. Yes. So they already have one or two books already written. They have a bit of a following on whatever platforms. They have a little email list going. All right. And now they're like, you know what? I see. I want a big 5 deal.
Yes.
And they want to really take things to the next level.
Yes.
What would you suggest that they do in order to kind of present themselves to would you suggest that they go straight to a publisher? Would you suggest that they go to seek out an agent? How would you recommend they craft their path to getting into one of the big 5?
Definitely. So my biggest recommendation is to go the agent route. So first things first, I highly recommend that you have all of your materials ready to go, meaning that you've got your manuscript super edited and organized to the best of the best. You've kind of done your work and you're ready for other people to take a read and give you insight as to their feedback about the manuscript. To have all of your other promotional materials in order, just meaning like counts of your followers on social media and some of your successful posts and any other professional successful history that you have. And then I would seek out agents, because agents are the easiest way to get a book deal in book publishing. Even with the open submission programs, which also, if the timing works out, I highly recommend for folks to submit their manuscripts to those. But as Denise Renee mentioned, many of our imprints publish very different books depending on what their focuses are. And if an open submission program is not catered to the genre that you've written for, I really do think the agent route still makes the most sense. And then with an agent, you work to basically find an editor and a home for your book. And the agent will do so much guiding and editing with you to help you get to that point. And in the meantime, like we've been saying this whole time, continue to push your platform, posting videos, sharing content, engaging with the readers that you do already have, self-publishing essays or, little excerpts and sneak peeks to grab attention. There are so many authors that we know of that were once self-published that have since become published within the actual publishing industry. So there's no wrong path to take. And there are a lot of different things that you can be doing in order to get there. And the last thing I'll say is I've recently learned a lot about online writing communities, basically groups of people who will, for free, kind of meet up and read each other's writing and edit it and offer feedback, basically in exchange for the same thing. And I've heard some amazing stories come out of those situations. On a baseline, just amazing friendships with people who are also in the trenches and aspiring writers, but also just some amazing insight and feedback from people who have different histories than you and might be able to offer, insight that you wouldn't have on your own. So there are so many steps that you can take to kind of get into the publishing industry. And just to reiterate, there's nothing wrong with self-publishing to start and then seeing maybe that you want to transition into something else.
All right. I think all of that is great advice. I think the biggest thing that I took away from anything that you want to do, if you're outside of the publishing industry and you want to get in, I think the two biggest things I took away was, number one, research.
Yes,
Figure
definitely.
out where is going to be the best home for yourself. And then the next thing would be just networking. And
For sure.
I think the best place to find those kind of people, I think, is on LinkedIn.
Truly.
People put their titles and, whatever that they got going on professionally, they put that there on their profiles. So
definitely. And
that's how I got to you. Was
I know, that's how we connected. And I was going to say too, we live in a world which sometimes, unfortunately, gives us such extreme access to other people, but it's also such an amazing thing because people are connecting in Instagram DMs, people are connecting on TikTok, people are connecting on X. Like there are so many ways and opportunities to connect with people outside of what we always consider like traditional networking. And that really opens the horizons for access into the industry too, I'd say.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day.
Of course.
And for, going a little incognito.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure.
All right. and putting up with my antics.
It was so fun.
So thank you so much for sharing. And if you guys have any questions, drop them down in the comments. I will I'll go back to my little, connections here. I'll ask Jordan the question and I'll bring it back to y'all. How about that?
That's perfect. That sounds great.
So thank you guys for checking out this episode of Sell Your Book, and I'll see you on the next one.